I'm making this video in honor of my son, Tyler, who took his life in December of 2025. And I'm making the video as if Tyler were still alive and listening to it, because I wish somebody would have made this video. I wish somebody would have done something to open up a conversation. Every generation has madness that happens. And to make the madness stop, it takes somebody or multiple people to get involved and to do something productive to make it stop. And I will not make suicide stop, but I will be a part of it, because I wish somebody would have done it for Tyler. And when it's my time to go and it's my time to take that last breath, I want to look back on my life and say, did I do everything that God expected me to do, even in tough times? And by doing these videos, the answer is going to be yes. I did everything I could. You know, I don't blame people who didn't do it. I don't blame people who lost somebody. It's a horrific existence. I don't blame them for not doing this. It's hard. The grief is indescribable. I mean, picking up the pieces and gluing them back together, you're not the same person. And I cry every day. We had such a tight relationship, my son Ty and I. And his brothers, we were just the tightest family. And I'm going to be transparent here, and I don't want to offend anybody, but I also want to be transparent and honest. I thought people who took their life were goth, dysfunctional families. Shame on me, I know. I wish I was educated. I wish I knew more, because I would have had more conversations with my son, which I'm having with my other two kids right now. But the people who have been through this, I'm going to encourage you to be open, talk about it, because until we talk about it, it's going to happen over and over again. And I don't want to see anybody that I know go through this. I don't want to see anybody go through this. As far as Tyler goes, we were so tight. We would watch 80s movies, and he knew every 80s song. He could even hum the instrumental parts. Like, it was Austin Powers. We loved Austin Powers. We loved Spaceballs. I would jokingly, if we'd be cooking together, or having an old fashioned together, I would say laser beam, and he would go like mini me, and because everybody called Ty my mini me. And now I wake up in the morning and he's not here. And just to take a breath is an effort. And how do you move? How do you function? Yet we do. And I know when it's my time to go that I've done everything I could. If I save one life or 30 lives or 100 lives. But I'm making this video because I've had too many instant messages. I've had too many texts from adults, young adults, and kids who are in dark, dark places right now. And I'm not talking people who have been diagnosed. I'm talking about people who are camouflaged. And they're people just like Tyler. And again, just like I always say in these videos, if you're watching this and you messaged me, I'm not going to out you. I'm not going to say your name. I'm not going to do. I would never. You're talking to me in complete trust, and I'm trying to help you the best I can. But honestly, there's too many. If I talked about every single person who texted me, it would blow your mind if you saw my phone with how many people are suffering right now. And these are people who are just, intelligent, well-spoken, articulate, athletic. And I think the problem is, like, when I was young, I to this day, I still have social anxiety. When I walk into a big room, even my wife knows this, I have severe anxiety. And to where my heart beats, and people who know me go, oh yeah, that's not true. It is the truth. And I hide it, but I've learned to live with it, and it's not a big deal. But when I was young and I started doing speeches, I would be in a fetal position, complete anxiety attack, just almost like nobody could talk to me or pull me out of this attack, this anxiety attack that I was having. And I would go and do the speech, and I would do it successfully, although I was shaking like a leaf, and I would realize I'm a little bit better. And I did another one, and it got a little bit better, and another one. And it got to the point where I have now lectured at, I presented research at the '04 Olympics in Greece. I spoke at the European Parliament. I took him because I wanted to show him how hard work paid off. I spoke at FIFA headquarters in Zurich. And I took Tyler for the experience with me. But the bottom line is I had to work my way up to that. But nowadays, when kids do a speech and they're in a fetal position and they're just trying, or maybe it's not a speech, maybe it's like Tyler doing ESPN, or maybe it's somebody playing a sporting event, or somebody doing something that's really hard for them to do, but they do it. And then they get on social media right after they're, and they go, you think, I did it, I'm growing. And you get on social media and you find 500 reasons that invalidates that feeling. You find 500 reasons of why somebody's better than you. And you can't grow. You can't do what we did back in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. Now it's almost impossible, to be proud of yourself and see yourself grow. Because social media tells you why somebody did it better. So how do you mentally grow? And these kids, 25 and under, are dealing with this mess. And so in talking, I took Nick hunting this past weekend. We went hunting, quail hunting, and we had a lot of good conversations. And when we were young and we didn't have social media, we talked to our parents, or the parents would talk to us. They'd say, how's school? How's this? How's that? And we would answer. Well, we didn't have social media. So when we would answer, we would actually give answers, like we would talk. But now, kids don't talk as much. So when the parents ask the kid, how was school? Fine. They're so programmed, they're pre-programmed to answer. Fine. How was this? Fine. How was that? Fine. When it's really not. And I don't think parents, I've realized this about myself, I don't think we're asking the right questions. I think we need to say, how's your mental health this week? Did you have any episodes? Did you have any experiences where you felt that maybe you weren't as successful as you wanted to be? Or maybe open up a conversation. Is there anything you want to talk about? Is there anything bothering you? And if the answer is no, then there's no need to dig. That's what we need to do. But again, if you're 40 or 50 or 60, when our parents asked us those questions, and we didn't have all the distractions that these kids do, we would actually answer. But now their answers are fine, even if they're not fine. And if you're 25 and under, I want you to understand this. Parents have stressful lives too, okay? And I want you kids to ask your parents the same questions. Ask your parents, how was your day? Did you have any stresses in life? Because you're going to realize your parents have it pretty freaking hard. It's hard to raise a kid in today's world. And by you opening up those questions, we'll open up a conversation and we can talk about this. And if you're 25 and under, watch this video with your parents. It will open up a conversation. Just watch it together. If you're lucky enough to where social media doesn't sidetrack you, God bless you. You know, the way I think about it is this. That guy who climbs the buildings and does El Capitan, he has something in his brain that makes him not feel fear of heights. He doesn't feel it. And whatever part of that brain he has, most of us don't have, right? Well, there's also a part of the brain that allows you to talk. And some of us have it and some of us don't. There's a part of the brain that allows you to put the social media away when you need to and prioritize your life. Some of us have that and some of us don't. See, the list is like this. It's like this of if you put every single kid and you go, okay, how do we dwindle down? How do we find the needle in the haystack, the ones who are going to take their life? And if we could only know how brains were wired and we could start crossing these off, if we could only know how kids open up and talk, we could cross more off. And until we do that, it's not going to happen. So what I'm suggesting is let's start having real conversations. And parents understand your kids and kids understand your parents. You both need to ask the same questions. But some of you who are watching this and you've texted me and you've instant messaged me and you've told me you've tried to take your life, some of you multiple times. And some of you say, and I'll say, well, you need to share that. More people who take their lives feel like they're alone. Tyler was a 5.6 GPA, super intelligent, bright future scholarship, athletic, played football, could talk to anybody. And he wrote this letter that said he wasn't worthy of being in this family, that he didn't achieve enough, which is ridiculous. He was more successful than anybody in the family. Tyler was more successful than anybody. He did the ESPN pregame show for University of Central Florida. And I believe he said he was like the second college student in history to ever host a show on ESPN Plus, a pregame college football show. And how could you think that you're not worthy enough? And how did I not know that? And the answer is social media. He did this show, was super successful, but then he found every reason to invalidate that success. So instead of growing, he went like this, and nobody saw it coming. And we asked his friends, we asked his coworkers, we asked his fraternity brothers. Everybody said, it's the last person I would have said. It's the last person that I would have thought ever would have done anything. And so the people who I've spoken to who have said, I've tried to take my life and I've encouraged you, talk about it, be open about it. We need to remove this stigma. It has to stop. Because more and more people, especially with the artificial intelligence, the AI, it will find its way to the deepest part of your brain and your kid's brain, and it will hook you like a drug. The algorithms will find the deepest part of your brain, and it will make you realize you're successful. Your successes in life aren't as successful as they really are. And it's sinful, it's demonic, and it has to stop. And some of you say, well, I'm on my own journey and I'm not gonna share that. That's fine, that's your opinion. And I respect that, but you're not helping kids like my son Ty. And I hope and pray that one day you have the courage to open up and talk about it. Because until we do, it's gonna be one of those things that nobody wants to talk about. And it's gonna happen again and again. And, like I said, every day for us, if people who know me know how tight my family was and how much fun we had. And like, there's no way this could have happened, but it did. And it will happen again. And I look at the news and I see there's a football player and then there's Martin Short's kid. And, I'll be honest with you. I wish I could be as articulate as an admiral talking about making your bed, or I wish my delivery was as good as Matthew McConaughey, but I'm a grieving dad. And I want to get to as many people as we can. This cannot happen again. And I'm letting my kids, my 2 kids who are still living, see this before it got on social media, because this is what we've been talking about. And, you know, I'm sharing what I would say to my kids with all of you. And, you know, I hope we can make a change, but until we start talking about it, it will happen again and again. And be on the lookout for people. You know, if their room is messy when it was never messy, or they're drinking more when they never drank, or they're smoking, or they're vaping when they never did, they're suffering from something. Okay? Ask your friend. Just say, hey, how's your mental health? Do you have anxiety? Do you have social issues? And see what they say. And if they do, open up a conversation. And I hope we can make this world a better place by opening a dialogue and talking to one another, because the sadness that I experience is indescribable. And if you've already gone through this and you lost a child and you know what we're feeling, I could tell you this. Some people will give you advice, and it's from a good place. And some people will give you advice who have been there and they've lost somebody. And they will tell you, don't go through the what ifs, don't go through this or that. And the reason why they're saying that, and when they say it to me, I know it's coming from a good place. I know these are good people and they're trying to help me. But they were in a dark place and they remember how painful that was. And they don't want you or me to go through that. So they're going to tell you, don't go there. Look, that's part of grief, okay? You stay there as long as you need to stay there. If it's too long, you'll know it's too long. If your friend starts saying, hey, what's wrong? Get help, but understand, your journey is your journey. And sometimes you're gonna cry, sometimes you're gonna say, what if? Sometimes you're gonna say, why didn't I do this or that? And remember, it's your journey. And somebody who says, don't go there, just remembers the pain. They remember the pain they went through, and they don't want you to go through that pain. But the bottom line is they went through it, and now they're on the other end, but you need to go through it, and it's painful. And if there's anything that I can help with, message me. But just remember, we have to open a dialogue. Kids, when I say kids, 25 and under, talk to your parents. Ask them, how's your mental health? And you'll be surprised what your parents say. It's stressful raising you kids. It's really stressful, especially when you're in your teens and early 20s. You know, we just want the best for you. Parents want the best for you. And parents, talk to your kids. Just open up a conversation. You have no idea. The parents have no idea how stressful it was, because we didn't have social media. We didn't have all the distractions. We didn't have all the apps that these kids have. And we have no idea what it's like to be them. But the more we talk about it, the less it happens. We're starting the Tyler J. Patton Foundation to prevent this from ever happening again. Our goal is to stop this. If you're interested, we don't have a website yet. We just had our first meeting, our first board meeting. If you're interested in this, just put in the comments something, let's stop this. And I'll make sure you get notified. And hopefully we can slow this down, or maybe in a perfect world, stop it from ever happening again. God bless you all.